So this is what we've been waiting for. When things go wrong. And the gentleman who's going to be presenting this is a friend of mine, for sure. Met him over through the Dallas Magic Club and some of the affiliates and associations we each have there. He has performed, I remember running into him just by chance, from my standpoint, at the Magic Time Machine restaurant, where he was working the tables there. And of course, I've seen his show at the Improv, and he's quite a talented magician as well. So he was lined up to do TAOM with us, and he was going to do some minimalism and some close-up stuff. And that, we all know what happened there. So anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Alan Flanagan.
Yay!
Well, that's till the end. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to be here tonight. Wow, so Bruce, oh, I can take a mask off. Oh wait, we have to do that in a more,
Okay.
we need like a, oh, that is a lot better. All right. So actually, you might see me with the cameras and stuff too. I have my Magic Minutes. This is my little t-shirt here. It's my YouTube channel. And I have a bunch of people joining me online too. So you guys are famous. I'm going to log into my computer so I can make sure I can take questions from them as well if they have any. So if you bear with me just a moment. Fabulous. So what's it to do when magic goes wrong? Well, that's a very broad topic, right? There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. There can go stuff wrong with bookings. There can go stuff wrong when you get to the event. There can be stuff that happens in a situation when you're performing. It could happen with a spectator. It could happen with you. It could happen at different ages, different people. All kinds of things can happen. So I kind of want to cover all of those, and there was a special request as well, because a couple of you guys had a question about what to do with the bad spectator too. So I don't know if it's phrased exactly that way, but I'd like to talk about that too. So, oh my gosh, there's a lot to go over. I want to make sure I get them, if they've known about this for a long time, I want to make sure they know that I'm here too. So, okay, first thing, I guess the big one we should talk about is, well, what do you do whenever you mess up during a trick? It's happened to me a lot. In fact, I wondered the reason I was here tonight, I was asked here tonight, was either I have a reputation of being an experienced performer, or I have an experience to screw up a lot. So this is actually the first event I've got to do that hasn't canceled on me in the first 3 months of this year. So I'm very happy to be here. So if you screw up during a trick, and this won't work for everybody and for every mentality when it comes to performing magic, because I have a slightly different thought process whenever I perform and the type of character that I play and that kind of stuff, and I play with a lot. But if you screw up during a trick, the best thing to do is just keep going. The audience doesn't have a script. This comes from theater. They're not reading line by line. It's supposed to happen when. Just keep going. If you've been doing magic long enough, there's probably something that, oh, you know what, hey, actually, let's switch gears. Or be honest, just say, hey, I screwed that one up. Let's keep going. And if you're entertaining, that's the most important part. If you can make people laugh and they're having a good time, that's really what we are as magicians. We're storytellers with special effects, special practical effects. So if you screw one up, do you want to break that illusion? Do you want to screw up? No, everybody wants to avoid it, of course. But if you do, just whoops, and then move on to the next thing, right? Just keep going. As long as you're entertaining, you have fun with it, and they're having fun, that's really the most important thing. Not everybody's going to agree with me, so they're like, well, no, you're supposed to be, this magical creature. Well, I don't know. I think that if you get along those lines of thinking, it's the same thing when you're a mentalist. That whole disclaimer, this isn't really me reading your mind or, whatever that is, and trying to be a believable. Magicians, I think we get away with it. I think most people know that what we're doing is not necessarily supernatural powers, right? It's a show, we all suspend disbelief, we all have fun with it, but we're not trying to convince anybody that we can levitate for real, So the more fun you have with it, the more entertaining you are, the better audience management you have, the more comfortable you're going to be with when you screw up. And that's just, it's uncomfortable, and it's terrible, and it sucks, but that's what happens. So sometimes it does. Some other interesting things that I want to talk about are instances where you might have spectators giving you a hard time. And that depends if you're on stage or if you're one-on-one or doing a close-up thing, because the way you handle it might be really different. And the age of the person might also come into that a lot too. If it's a kid, don't be like, hey, get out of here, schmuck. You don't want to do that. That's not gonna paint you in a good light. Good luck getting booked again, So, you just kind of have to take it on the chin with kids. But what I found out doing kids shows, I've done corporate events, kids shows, fairs, festivals, just about any performance venue that you play I've done. With children, the best way that I found to perform for children is just to kind of do the improv yes and. So a lot of musicians, a lot of frustration that happens when you're performing for kids because you have a show in mind, you want to do this is supposed to happen, this is supposed to happen, right? This is whenever they reach their hand in the egg bag, they don't feel, if they catch it, it's part of the show. Just it comes from an improvisational idea, right? Just that's where we're going now. It's not where I plan to go, but that's where we're going to go. And as long as you're laughing and still having fun, you can slowly steer it back into what back into your show. Go off script a little bit for a while, and then kind of gently bring it back in. But some of those, I completely lost all my frustration with doing children's shows or birthday parties whenever I just gave in to what was going to happen. This is going to happen no matter what. There's 20, 30 kids, you're outnumbered, you're not going to be able to, all right, stop, this is, don't try to save it, just go along with it, see where it goes, have fun with it, improvise, and then bring it back into the thing. Now, if you're with an adult and they're doing that on stage with you, and they're giving you a hard time, that's probably on you for picking up. I have this theory that there's no such thing as bad audience. I think magicians like to blame a bad experience at a show on the audience. Oh, it was a bad audience, or that's what I feel better. Sorry, but if you have a bad experience, almost always your fault. that's a true sandwich. That hurts, and it doesn't feel good, and it makes. I've had shows where I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to have talent. What happened? I call my wife. I'm going to quit magic. I'm just done. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do something else. But it's. What am I trying to say? It's how do you handle this? How do you handle this? You have somebody on stage. You're in it. You're in the thick of it. What's going to happen? Well, again, this I think really depends on your character, who you're playing, what your audience's expectations of who you are is, because it's a lot different if you're, say, the amazing Jonathan and you screw up a trick. It's funny, it's part of the show, it was meant to happen, or I want to see how he gets out of this, right? If it's David Blaine or Chris Angel, and they have this very serious persona, and then they screw up, it falls very differently on the audience, right? And so it really depends on the character you play. You have to think about the best ways in character to handle certain situations. If you're a goofy, go-lucky guy, or if you're mostly a comedic magician, the world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want, right? Just have fun with it. If you're a serious magician and you're doing this, I don't mean serious isn't serious perform, but it's in a serious persona. You can chalk that up to a whole lot of things. Oh, that was maybe we'll just try that later, or whatever. That was never put it on the spectator that the thing went wrong. Right? If something goes wrong in the show, it's your fault. Oh, that was, of course, if you would have listened the way I told you to do it, get off my stage. You're going to lose the whole audience. So, and you guys probably know all this, but I have lots of people of all different ages watching too, so I'm trying to address the broadest category of people possible. If you are in a close-up situation, just walk away. That's really, it took me so long to figure this out. I'm going to plug my channel, but I have a couple of different series on there. The whole channel is built for magicians and showing them, one of the series I did that I want to talk about is the 20-year series, where I was on a public access television show about 20 years ago, and I had to tape VHS, and I dug it out of the cardboard box, and I was able to digitize it and put it onto YouTube, and I commented over top of it all the some things I did right too. I wasn't too hard on myself, but like how they didn't have it to myself. But I thought, well, heck, here's a thing I can just hold up and show everybody, look, sure, yeah, I've done this and this and this, but it took 20 years to get there, and I still suck in a lot of areas. Well, there's this part in part 3, if you look at the series, and I hope you do. I don't have any merch to plug or anything, so just my channel, if I would really appreciate you guys check that. But in part 3 of this 20-year series, there is a lady that I'm performing for. I'm doing I think it was called Three Brothers or something. Maybe you guys can tell me. It's in Bobo's Modern Coin Mag, but it's like a coin to pocket. I think it's called Three Brothers. So I think that's what I have in my head. And in this trick, you have to buy some palm coin. And I got her with the first one. I did a coin transfer. What was the word? Not transposition, but like a penetration through glass. So I got her with that. She was, oh, cool, all right, yeah, I'm going to go do something else, right? And then I go to do this other trick, and she catches out that I have a coin palm in my hand. And she, straight up, reaches into my hand, pulls the coin out, slaps it on the table, and then starts singing some song that's in the background. It was humiliating. I will never forget it. It's on tape forever, and now on the internet forever and ever and ever. Why did I put that up, right? Well, because what I did is I tried to go, oh, well, you got me. If you like that one, let's go ahead and do this one. You walk away, right? You are under no obligation to perform for anybody, right? You're giving a gift to somebody when you perform. And if somebody doesn't want to receive that gift from you, then don't give it to them, right? You just grab your stuff, thank you very much, you have a nice day, go on to the next person. This is even for paid gigs, right? Some people will not like get paid gigs. In fact, a lot of times we've seen a lot of stuff, right? You do like a corporate event, a company tries to, this year it's a juggler, and this year it's a magician in this city, and this time it's a magician in that city. They see a lot of entertainment, so they get kind of jaded sometimes. And some people just don't want to see something. Now, it's okay, right? Well, the way that I have that in my head is I'll go and I'll make sure that I'm sorry, I want to make sure I answer your question. Is that directed towards me?
I can't get it out.
I can't either. I'm sorry. If you're asking your question, I can't understand what you're saying. I'm so sorry. If we can figure out what it is, I'd love to answer it. When I stand closer to the mic? Is there a mic? I can't, I don't have a mic. I got this one. If we do the mic, I gotta sing Strangers in the Night. She heard that, alright. Strangers in the night, exchanging glances. That's not what you guys need to see.
You want me to put a mic on you?
I want to make her happy. she's running the show right now. So, yeah, if you're doing a paid gig, some people, my goal is to always just go to the next group, make them loud, having fun, and that way they're. I'm just going to blow it with mics.
And that's inside of the shirt.
All right, everybody, go see some second one. Oh, Bruce is going to help. And then stuff, and then.
Hey.
All right. Oh, can I just clip it here?
Yeah.
That way nobody has to see my tongue and chest. How's that, better? Oh, we're gonna amplify my voice. Nice, yeah, look at that. See, storytellers with special effects.
Can you hear that magic now?
Yeah, is that better?
Magic mom?
Check. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
I can't hear her.
Oh, because you can't hear it. Okay. All right. So yeah, my goal anyway is to if I'm at an event like that and somebody's like, no, I don't want to see nothing, or or even just kind of standoffish to you. My goal is always to go to the next group, make them as loud as possible, so that other person goes, maybe they're actually good. Maybe they check out what they're doing. That's a kind of social proof thing. I had a time with this kind of aside, but I was doing magic for Coca-Cola at Six Flags. This was in August. It was like 2 years ago. It was like 105 degrees outside. It was on blacktop, and it was just, you know. I was walking around. Hi, my name's Alan. I'm, you know, we're celebrating the experience the magic of Coca-Cola summer or whatever. And, you know, here, can I show you some magic? And he said, no, we don't believe in that kind of thing. And it turns his back to me like the Kumite in Bloodsport, whatever, you know. Just, it's like, what is that? What is that? Okay, fine, all right. You have a nice day. I'm always polite, even though maybe my head going, that was weird. You know, okay, but have a nice day. Thank you for your time. What else can I bring up? I have a list here, and I want to make sure I get through my bullet points. But while I'm doing that, is there any questions that anybody has? I'm going to also check my computer, see if anybody in there has any questions. Do you guys have any questions about maybe specific situations, how I might have dealt with them, or anything like that? Yes, Joey.
Just a comment, and that would be that I find your attitude about just walking away,
Yeah.
even if it's pain,
Yeah.
I find it kind of revolutionary. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's not something, everybody thinks I'm being paid to be here. I gotta play for these people that are disgruntled or don't want to see me.
Yeah.
And you don't have to. You don't have to. It's a great.
No, I don't think you do, and I might get some pushback on that. You know, you may say, well, I'm paid to perform for every single person here. But what you're really there to do, I mean, it could be a couple of different things, but you know, one of the things the company's going to look at was the event better because he was there. And if you have a bunch of people, they measure these things, and they do surveys afterwards, and they ask, well, what do you guys think about the entertainment? You know, so I want to know if they're going to hire you next year, or if people like that kind of thing, or if they want to go in a different direction for the next event. And if you got people that are mad are much more vocal than people that are happy. Right? You go on Yelp, you're going to see lots of negative reviews, but you're not going to see a lot of positive reviews for a restaurant because people don't have the impetus to go and praise things as much as they do when they're pissed off. So, you know, stay away from pissed off people. And make sure you get only happy reviews. That's the way to do it. It's your favorite. So maybe I'm you know, ruining some people's perception of how that works, or maybe I am just crazy. It could be, but that is my thought. I think that. Oh yeah, here's one. What if the audio cuts out? I have some specific examples. The best way I've ever seen this handled was Oscar Munoz at TAOM. And this was I think this was the year that he actually won close-up and stage with the same routine. I'm not a casting shade, I just thought it was really fun. But he was doing a presentation during the last night, and there was something going on in the audio booth, and his mic kept cutting out. It's actually it's something that happens a lot, especially here in DFW. If you don't have the right microphone, you can have some real problems. There are actually like hexadecimal code on microphones that tell you which ones work in which markets. You may not know that, but that's really important. So you gotta buy one that works in your market. There are ones that are universal, but the universal ones are extremely expensive, and they still don't work everywhere. But anyway, Oscar was on stage, he was doing his thing, doing his bit, and you hear this, you know, all this terrible like dial-up noise and everything just coming out of these speakers throughout the big room. And he gives, make sure the audio guys knew there was a problem, that they were there, they were working on it, and give him a second to try, and then another second to try, and he went, you know what, I forget this, and then he took the mic, the whole giant banquet room full of people, but he shouted, I'm sure he threw his voice out, but everybody could hear him, and he just shouted for the rest of the thing, but that's how you do it, you know, oh, I'm sorry, we're having some technical difficulties, let me see if I can, the show's still got to go on, right? So whatever you got to do to keep that cadence going, that rhythm going, I think Oscar did an amazing job of that. It's something I want to bring up. Audio will go out. It's good to test and retest, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Preparation, ounces of preparation is what time to cure. You know, make sure you have a good microphone that works in your market. If you're renting the microphone from somebody in your area, you're probably not going to have that problem. But always good to check. I had that happen at Gas Monkey Live. I did a show out there, or event out there. And even though these guys were all professional tech guys that like bring on mean I had to stay in one place instead of go out in the audience. That really changed how I had to perform, but you got to roll with it. I want to make sure I'm getting all of my stuff. Oh, here's the fun one. So a client doesn't follow your instructions. If you get booked for a show, I got hired for a Christmas party for an HVAC company. Big HVAC company. I think they were Airvent, I think is the name of them. But they were big, ran out this big banquet room. They had about 200-300 people there, employees and spouses and everything. And I'm doing a stage show. And I said, hey, look, especially pay attention to this. I have a couple things. I need to have good sound, stage, and lighting. And the lighting they had, the stage they had, the sound they had. But the other thing that they missed was not to put a dance floor between the stage and the banquet tables. And it's something that's a common practice. It happens all the time. That's what they want to do. It's just like, well, that seems like a logical place. If maybe we'll have a band playing after the magician or something, people can dance on that. So we'll put the stage here, and we'll set the banquet tables on the other side of the stage, you'll be on the stage. That will kill your show so fast. I've had it happen to me one time, and I would never let it happen again. What ends up happening is if you are trying to bring a volunteer up, for instance, can you imagine them getting out of the banquet and then walking across a 20 by 20 stage up there's so much wasted time in that. It's ridiculous. And if you're performing with smaller props, it's like they're on the way other side. They can't see what card that is. They don't know what that is, right? So, that was technically like a Parlor Plus show. That wasn't even a real stage show. But, because there's about maybe 200-300 people. Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can do a larger. But from that far away, there's no, you need opera glasses, right? So, what I did is I would, of course, show up early. I want to make sure that everything's right because I don't want to be dealing with problems that I can't solve the amount of time I have before the show. So I would show up really early. And I saw it and I was like, okay, pull out my phone, call my contacts, say, hey, look, there's dance floor on stage. You guys hired me to do a job. I want to do the best job I possibly can. I'm telling you right now, nothing will kill the show faster than this. So I'd like to solve it, and I have a solution for that already. And the solution was to wheel in 300 chairs for me and set them up on the dance floor. And I did. I took off my jacket, and I got with the other guys, and I just wheeled them in, and I was setting them up like mad. And so we set them up on the dance floor, and they were this close, right? One of the best shows I've ever done. And it's because I had that solution in place. I had that preparation there. I knew what I would do differently after the only one time that I did it and I screwed up. That was horrible. If you have to go out and you have to get a volunteer, you want to walk over to somebody, if you're doing mentalism, you want, hey, hold on to this envelope for me, and then go over. You have to traverse so much space. It's just, you see you're watching them do this, and it takes forever and ever and ever until it totally kills the flow of the show. So, have a solution in place. The best thing to do is tell them, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. But they don't listen. So in that case, make sure they're early enough to solve any problems that they have to. The time I cut my pinky off. Yeah, that was the thing that happened. So I was at the Improv Comedy Club. And I was in Addison, Texas. I don't know if you guys have been out that way or not. I know I'm kind of the stranger here. I'm traveling from a faraway land. But there's a world famous Improv Comedy Club in Addison, Texas, and they had this magic program that they would do for families. It was in the evenings they had all the comics and all the raunchy stuff and other things, and then on Saturday mornings, Saturday noon-ish, they would have these magic shows with families, and it was a way to kind of bring the parents and the kids in, and the parents could learn about all the other shows that were going on and all this stuff, nice little marketing thing. And they had a rotation of magicians, and I was one of them. And I was doing a bill of lemon. And in fact, I have the knife. Oh, do I? Yeah, it's right over there. But would you mind holding up my It's just a visual right there. Don't worry, I washed the blood off. Thank you. This guy right here. I want to talk more about this in a second, too. But yeah, just cut the tip of my pinky clean off, right? Took some of the nail, tipped the pinky. blood just squirting everywhere. There's lemon juice in it. Okay, you know, and I've had this kind of like, oh, you know, I'm saying this funny kind of mentality during the whole show. And so at first they don't know that I'm hurt. You know, this is kind of like the whole heart attack thing on stage. You know, it's like I'm just missing a fez. You know, I was like, no, I'm sorry. Of course, I always have the baby wipes in my closing case, so I always had those, and I just took them out. And I'm really sorry. I would like to perform the rest of the show for you. I'm sorry about the visual. Does anyone have a Band-Aid that I can please have? Right? And I'll be happy to pay for it, whatever. Right? So somebody says, oh, I got one, it's great. So then I make her the hero of the show, right? She's just came to my aid, got the whole thing going. I'm still performing while she's getting the Band-Aid passed up to me. And great, thank you very much. You take it off and go. But it was I think the first time I cried and the embarrassment hurt worse than I took my pinky off. But again, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I could go, ah! You know, blood coming out and all the kids, ah! You know, just get more complex, or I can just go, ow. And you go, does anybody have a band? And of course, moms always carry Band-Aids in their purse, always. So in that case, you're fine. But yeah, I made her the hero of the show. We all stopped and gave her a good clap and everything. She was the hero, and I made this part of the show, right? Keep the entertainment going, right? Things like that will happen. You have to know how to just kind of roll with it. And I did not always. And my reaction is not always the correct one. Sometimes I look back at a thing and I constantly re-examine myself after every interaction, going, did I say something stupid there, or did I do something stupid there? It's like whenever you talk to, like, you know, somebody you like or something, you're like, oh man, I should have said that. You know? But yeah, so that's always constantly examining your shows and what you're doing. And my main goal is these people are here to have fun, right? I'm right now. They have given me a lot, like right now, have given me a platform to talk, and I can't waste their time. I have to do something good with it, right? Also, on the note of when magic goes wrong, this is invaluable. Some kind of multi-tool with lots of different little things on it. So many times this has saved my butt. I have a dedicated knife usually that I have. This one right here is a larger knife and works pretty well for cutting lemons and that kind of stuff. It's usually what I carry for. And that's what I usually use, but I got it. And it's not the one I was wearing a suit, and I wasn't wearing a blazer and blue jeans and everything, and so I didn't want to put this in there. I forgot it on the counter at home. But this is always in my case, so I still had a knife to be able to cut the lemon. My close-up table I have, right? It's just a laptop stand, or it's like a DJ laptop stand that I got. It's made by Pilot. But you know, the way that it was made, there were some things I would have changed about it. It wasn't very robust. Screws kept coming loose, all kinds of other things. So imagine my horror when I'm doing this charity ball thing, and I'm about to get up on stage, and my leg is totally like loose like this, and I'm like, oh, look, it's just falling over. Uh-oh. I had this, just, you know, and we're good, right? So having some kind of multi-tool or Swiss Army knife or something will save your booty a lot. I always have one. It's that Boy Scout Be Prepared thing. I wasn't a Boy Scout, I'm an honorary Eagle Scout. Don't ask me what that is, but I read the books that passed the test and I was given the honorary title. But always be prepared. The more prepared you are, the better. Something else, always having two of whatever you need. If you have a fragile or consumable or something, always have two of them, right? Or more. Right? I do soap and egg. I always carry like half a dozen eggs in my case. So I build a lemon. I'm carrying like 2 or 3 lemons because you know, what if the eggs break, right? Now, chances are one might, but 6 probably not. Right? They're cheap. Just have them. You know. So the more prepared you can be, always the better. Yeah, it makes your case a little bit heavier. And it's not as lean and mean and everything, but you will avoid a disaster.
You have a free from Japan.
For Japan, not Asia. Is it Bernard?
Bernardo?
Hey, Bernardo! Hey, what's up, I learned that from Greg Wilson. I'm sorry, this is my first time presenting anything like this, so I am referencing my notes a lot. But I want to make sure I hit all the points I want to hit. That's a big number of them. But I do want to go back a little bit to the bad volunteer. What are some things we can do if you're on stage? And this person is just giving you a hard time over and over and over again. I try to kill people with kindness, almost always, right? Sometimes that makes you a punching bag, and people will just go, "Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna, make it worse for them." But here's the thing: is that most of the audience is on your side, and they're thinking the same thing you are. That this person is throwing off the show. They're being disrespectful to not only the magician, but each and every one of those audience members who paid to be there, right? And nobody likes that person. So I try my best to come out as clean as possible and a good guy and the person who's like everybody can sympathize and empathize with. And chances are, you might have one bad person, but everybody else is going to be on your side. It's going to be, you're going to have a much softer audience after that, because they're going to, oh my gosh, I can't believe the hard time that I got. Some comedians, you see like comedians' responses to that is, oh, who let this guy in here? Oh, it's a nice shirt, sir. Do they sell that in the men's, or the men's size? Or, all these kinds of like different bragging on people. I think that's really the wrong approach, because that makes you negative too, right? If the audience is there to support you, you're kind of implicitly making everybody have to go along or agree with what you're saying or you're doing. And so you want to make sure it's always positive, because you want to have that reflect back. It's the golden rule, right? You want to know. So I've never had anybody, I think the worst thing that's ever happened to me was I did a watch steal. And when I read the big ta-da, I go, oh, sir, before you go, I have a present for you, this thing. I got punched in the face. He came up, stopped back up the steps, grabbed me right into my shirt, popped me right in the face. I won't give the company because I settled out of court. But yeah, that's the thing. That did happen only one time. But I always used to tell people, oh yeah, what's the worst that can happen, right? That maybe you have like an awkward moment for a second or something, but nobody's gonna punch it. Apparently they will. But there was just this one time. But for the most part, you're not running the risk of that. Remember, you're always in control of the show. It's your show. You're the special person up there, doing the thing and leading everybody through a good time. And that's your job, is to keep everybody having a good time. So whatever you got to do. I mean, each situation is to be different. I can tell you every situation what to do with that. But usually killing with kindness. Maybe being a little bit playful could be okay. If you're going over an instruction or something that you want to say or do, or they're kind of messing up. No, I'll do it again. But if you could please do it like this, Some people may not intentionally be doing that. Some people just maybe you're not being clear enough in what you're asking them to do, or they got an impression of you that isn't right. So you can try to bring those people back, and if they just aren't hey, look, what? Thank you so much for your time. I don't think this is good. Well, maybe we can try this later in the show. I'm going to give a big round of applause. Give him a really big round of applause, and then just set him back down. Again, don't try to push a square peg in a round hole. Sometimes you just have to give up. Maybe I have to cut that routine. That's fine. Then just get him off the stage, but be as nice as possible. That never pays to be a jerk on stage. Because they go bad. Even when you're nice, you push in the face sometimes. So, before I kind of close down, I want to ask you, do you have any questions or anything that I can answer maybe on there? Thank you so much for helping get some here. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything else I can answer for anybody? Maybe online or in person, on Zoom? Oh, you're right there. Okay. No, okay, well, take a joke.
How did you respond to the?
Oh, I'm not at liberty to talk about the details of that case. No, I mean, I got up and then made sure he got his watch back, and then he he was escorted off the stage. And it wasn't so bad that I needed any kind of medical attention right then, so I continued the show. And at the end of the program, then I had the people who hired me and their boss come in and talk to me, and then we figured that out afterwards. But yeah, still, I mean, there are very few reasons that I would stop a show. I can't think. I mean, if there was a fire, I think that's about the you know. There were even examples. I can't remember the name of the magician. I think it was maybe might have been Robert Houdin who did this. But there was a fire in the theater, and he used his magic to calmly get everybody up and escort it out of the exit. And he did that. You know, he's like, "All right, everybody, if you could please pay attention to me. We're going to do an illusion outside. So we're going to get everybody up in single file and slowly make our way, you know, carefully and then got everybody out before anybody even knew what was happening. Right? He's got the view of the back of the house, and this is on fire. But he's not going, shit!
George gonna stand.
Yeah, yeah, but there are very few reasons, as far as I know, we continue to show outside, you know? So there are very few reasons to stop the show entirely. There's some pacing and timing, and it's got to happen. And, you know, even be away from that to talk about, you know, if you are set up for a certain amount of time, do that amount of time. If you are, that's something like, especially in a corporate event or something, like, if they're like, okay, well, you're on, then we have a speaker, and then we have this, and the closing statements from the president or whatever. You know, you've got a certain amount of time, so you can't be wasting a lot of time screwing around and having a bad experience and on that note. So just as quickly as you can, get them off the stage. You have to do that nicely, and then you know, show, keep the energy up, keep everything going. So.
I enjoyed the point that you made about if a volunteer is not understanding what you're trying to get out of them, that you set them down and go on to another trick. You don't repeat that trick because you will embarrass that spectator.
Yeah, what are you, stupid? Why can't you figure this out? It's the simplest thing in the world. Just steal 3 cards from the bottom of the deck, flip it in half.
And the audience will be on the magician's side in that case, but there's no embarrassment anywhere. Just go to the next thing.
That's right.
I like that.
And I think you hit right on the point there on the nose there is that, I mean, we have a very special position that we're given, right? People will listen to what we say, and sometimes for a long time. I've been talking for. So you know, respect that space that you're given, and be a good steward of it. So.
I do have another question.
Yes, sir.
What happens when you use it a prop that falls apart on you? You
Well.
start laughing at people?
Yeah, I mean, does that happen to you?
Oh, yes, it did.
What was it? Was it like a?
I was using the stratosphere.
I knew that's what I knew you were gonna say. Yeah, it's full of stuff that falls apart.
And well, it's old. I ordered it in 1882.
Oh, what's the mask? I couldn't hear you.
When I pulled it open, it just everything just fell apart. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's right. It's funny, right? So great. If you get a positive reaction out of it, go to the next thing, right? I meant to do that, right? They don't know. They don't have a script, right? Maybe the whole thing was. And for my next trick, you know, nice the little picture, and then you know, and just pulls out, right? Or get to the elf lawsuit with the ice cream scoop in the hair and everything, but then have the ice cream. Now I would draw a line between, you know, doing that for real, intentionally. I mean, that might be funny, it might be a bit. You find out it's really funny, but yeah, just keep going. Yeah, the audience doesn't have a script; they don't know what's going on. The more time you spend on it, go, can you give me that thought? Nobody's having fun. You're not having fun. They're not having fun. Nobody's having fun, right? So, well, that didn't work. I mean, but having that kind of attitude is like, oops. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, okay? Or well, you know, he's human. Okay, we'll allow him that. You know, I think we hold ourselves to the standard where we have to think that person that we have to be perfect every time. We want to strive for that, but none of us is that. Never will be that. So, yeah, things happen. Occam's razor, or not Occam's razor, but yeah. Well, Occam's razor for the solution, but it has to. That'd be my answers. Oh well. Any other questions on the interwebs or otherwise? Joey?
How is, first of all, have you ever had a secret, one of your gimmicks, or a secret, a magician's secret revealed during a performance, and how do you handle it? When you,
You mean like flash gimmick or?
yeah, just where the whole audience, or pretty much everybody knows what you're doing and why, how it went wrong.
Yes, that's why I don't do magic with gimmicks anymore. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I just bought 2 thumb tips. So, thank you, Bruce. And the cigarette and coin, or no, not cigarette coin, coin bottle coin. Yeah.
Repeat the questions and then you're.
Yes. So Joey asked me, what happens if I flash? If I flash you, if I had that happen, and what I would do about it. You know, how bad did I flash? You know, I think we've all experienced this when we perform. You know, you have a real sense where you get like in that zone where everything is kind of, everything you say is funny, and everything you know, where everybody's eyes are at every single time you can catch a darting of an eye. You know, just this like tiny, almost imperceptible movement that you know they're looking at the hands of the palm of the coin or whatever. So I have a pretty good idea if I flash it by how much. And so if I screw the pooch on it, you know, I won't go, hey, let's have a show and tell, you know. But I'll be like, oh yeah, you know, oh well. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's something new I'm working on, or that's I won't say that. I'll say something along the lines of, oh man, it didn't work like I saw in the catalog or something like that. Just something on line and then toss it away and then back into, you know, that. So yeah, I mean, had that happen. Yes, I minimally now, but it still does. In fact, if I have the time, I'd like to show you guys something that kind of illustrates the point. You guys have patiently watched me talk for so long, not show any magic at all. Joey, I might have a longer beard than the last time you saw me. Yeah, I'm kind of going for the Eugene Berger look. Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, may he rest in peace. He was the sweetest, most gentle, kind man I've ever met. I met him at Austin College years ago. Larry Austin was up there. Sweet guy. He gave me his card with his phone number. I never called him. I was too scared to, and I should have called him and just been like, hey, Eugene, I love you. You know, kind of super cool. He actually, the reason I bring him up too is he wrote a lecture. I think it was like 1982. It was a restaurant magic lecture, and the whole lecture, he advertised everything, and he said that like 3 people showed up because it was just. He said there's not going to be any magic tricks in it. I'm not going to teach how many tricks work. I'm just going to talk about theory. And it's like 3 people showed up, right? And I figured you guys were all here already, so I didn't have to worry about maybe showing up or not. So I'm going to show you a little something. I am going to put my mask on. Batman's on for. What's over here? Ninja. Okay. So I need a helper. I need a helper for this. And I apologize to the cameras at home that you're probably not going to see much of this. Unless I could get to if I have somebody come up. Are we okay with that? Is anybody comfortable with coming up and helping me out? Yeah. Would you? Oh, love you. Okay. Please, sit over here. Everybody, this is Cindy. She's a wonderful lady.
I'm totally.
Hey, you speak to your majesty that way.
Would it look
If you'd like some, you don't have to. So, I'm just, look at that. This is the whole thing. This is how I've been doing shows lately. This is something Joey asked me to talk about that I forgot to talk about. But I did a show as recent as yesterday for the city of Parliament. And, you know, it was it went extremely well. But it was, normally I take a deposit, and I did not take a deposit on this one because I was like, I don't want to have to worry about trying to get this back to the person if they postpone or cancel, because that happened so many times. But there's some things that I put in. Robert Bax has also talked about this on SB Talk Magic, about some things that he's done for shows to make people feel more comfortable and climates to be able to perform shows. Offering hand sanitizer, sanitizing your hands between audience members coming out, everything, offering it to them. Using new stuff if you're going to use it, new decks of cards, all that kind of stuff. And also, for the 6 feet apart thing, what he did was also we would put the handstand, they would do it in, kind of choreographed way. You would use it, put it down, ask the person to come up, and then they would pick it up off the table. So there's some interesting things there. If you guys want to take a look at Robert Bax talked about this, and got some really good pointers and things in there. Okay, Cindy, if you would, please just my I can't get over it. I like her. Yeah. You hear that, Cindy? I like it, you know? All right.
Doesn't see me, but she likes me too.
She remembers me at Christmas time. It's nice.
Oh,
You did pick the most troublesome person.
I didn't? Oh, that's okay. Cindy, anytime you want to, tell me to stop, please.
stop.
Right there?
Yeah. that's
Sure.
perfect. Absolutely perfect.
You know?
No, just like that.
Please take a look. Show everyone, please show the cameras and everything. I feel like a David Blaine. I'm just going to look right here in this, oh, I'm not going to do that. I got a monitor. I can cheat. I'm not cheating. I could. Nobody would know.
I'm not showing that camera.
Okay, everybody got it?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Three.
Cindy, if you want to set that anywhere you want in there.
Same.
Anywhere you want.
Face up, face down.
Face up makes it a lot easier. I'm not going to get clean. Okay, awesome. Now, I might have seen kind of where you put that. I might have judged maybe it's about 15, 17 parts down something. Maybe I could just find it by chance by narrowing that down so maybe it's not true. Okay. Pretty good?
I'm impressed.
Cindy, what are you doing after the show? No, I'm kidding.
Sleeping.
Oh, that's all before. That just makes you want to get a cup of coffee. All right, so Cindy, your car's in somewhere. I'm going to read your mind. If you know what it is. Nice. Think about it.
Yep.
It happens to be a universe here. You got it? I know what it is, right? Yeah, no, I just have to find it now. Because like I say, you go, oh, so I'm going to find it in here. It is the. Aha! Got it.
No, that's not it.
Got it. You're trying to figure out. I see what that is. Yeah, on theme. Very on theme thinking. Not only did I find your card, but I could change it. There's 4 diamonds.
Ooh, excellent.
Thank you. That was pretty stupid. That wasn't your card, I take it. I was really hoping that, wasn't it? I was like, either you forgot or you're trying to let me know what what was your card?
Well, it wasn't.
Wasn't the 4 diamonds? Anybody wants to know?
51.
Yeah, we're gonna. I've already taken up too much of your time. What was your card? 2 of clubs. That's what I said. It's the 2 of clubs.
Oh, hey.
Oh no! Thank you. But we got to do this. I got to run the class, so we'll do it like. I dropped the deuce. All right. See, have fun with it, right? Oh no, you're so sweet. But that's not very good. That's not very good. We'll say we can go back in time. Right? It was mentioned about the time machine I performed there. I had that imbued with time traveling abilities.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. I just go back in time like this.
Oh, you picked my card.
Wasn't that amazing? Are you impressed?
I am.
You too. Thank you. That was very good. Now you had the 4 diamonds, right? We'll go back in time. We'll do this forever. All right. So let's say, what's the best trick you've ever seen? That I've done.
Oh, that you've done?
Yeah. No.
Well, let's say cut off your cheeky.
Cut off my baby. Yeah, it actually it took. I can take it off now. No, we'll try to go back in time. Let's try to do it. Watch. 3, 2. There we go. Oh, there's the 4 diamonds. And there's air conditioning in here. That's right. It's my hair blowing in the crowd. But if I really did that, it's going to be a weird card.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, if It's jigsaw puzzle. Don't say that again.
Okay.
That's pretty terrible, isn't it? Are you left or right handed? Okay, put this in your mouth. Squeeze tight. Say the magic words. Illusion warehouse. Let's brand this.
House.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah. You feel it? Yeah. Feel it?
Open it.
No, please. Could it be? It is. But how?
Right.
There you go.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Like it.
Oh, I appreciate it very much. They did, this cost a lot of money to keep doing that trick, so.
Look at that. It's beautiful.
Hey, Erin City, everybody. So I showed you that to make a point, which is, well, I intentionally screwed up there a couple of times, and that's your teammate, but that is David Williamson's effect. I think it's called the, I don't know, some really obvious name, like rise transposition or something like that. But it's great, it's wonderful. But the same principle applies, right? There's a couple times I actually did screw up, to be honest, but I was just having fun with it, right? The car fell on the ground, oh, I dropped it, right? You can't definitely find the lines memorized, no, but you'll find that you're like, nah, I could probably say that. I'll judge your audience, I could probably, a bunch of magicians, you're gonna laugh at that. They're gonna know what abuse is. So yeah, let's roll with it, have fun. I hope everybody was entertained by that, even though there were screw-ups, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is that if you're here enjoying yourself, it's possible for everybody else to hate it too, right? So, thank you. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate the invite to come here tonight, and hopefully I'll be back to see you guys really soon. Woo. And I'm gonna take this water and drink it out really, really fast because I'm very thirsty. Thank you guys. Thank you.
All right, Alan Polani.
Close. Rhymes with spaghetti.
Polani.
There you go.
Okay, great.
Hey.
So thank you guys very much for coming here. We certainly appreciate it. And when things go wrong, it always happens. And so we appreciate your advice and your experience. That makes this a whole lot better because now it's personal. Yes, I want to thank all of our viewers that are watching on Zoom and those on Magic Minute. Welcome you. Come back to the Illusion Warehouse anytime.
Thank you.
And we certainly appreciate all of you taking the time to join us here tonight. Next month, August, Night of Illusions. I think it's going to be great. We hope to see you then. And we'll have some more updates on TAOM. For those of you who are here, please remove your badges and put them on the board back there. And other than that, thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.